it's so easy when you're starting your business to live in that bubble and kind of like reject outside opinion, but you guys have done this for over 200 people. So like you like the pattern recognition that you have seen
400.
400, yeah. So like when I came to you the other day, it's like, yo, dude, we're kind of slowing down on leads. Like, what's going on here? And you were able to fix that within like 10 minutes of conversation.
Yep.
And that would have taken us just banging our heads against the wall for
And it
maybe even a
wasn't an
couple of
easy
weeks.
fix. That was
Yeah,
not an easy fix. And we had
yeah,
to like dissect a funnel or two,
yeah,
but it was like it was very clear to me like what specifically
yeah.
was happening. Yeah.
There's no way we would have came to that conclusion, or we maybe would have, but way later down the line, we
Yeah.
would have lost out on a ton of opportunity versus like, hey, we can fix this right now because of your guys' help, and then keep iterating from there.
Sweet. This is a fun one, a special one for me because I have my good friend Jake here, guys. If you don't know who I am, I'm Nick, founder of Launch Socials. Obviously, you're watching it on our channel right now. But this is Jake, my good friend. I want him to introduce himself, and we'll jump into what we've been able to do together.
Dude, it's so great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
My name
bro.
is Jake. I go by Jake Youngblood on all my socials. Yes, Youngblood's my real middle name. It's not an alias. And I started a community called Irrational Optimism, and I recently joined on socials, and that has just been an incredible journey for us in every way imaginable.
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting thing, right? Because you worked with me at Launch Socials for a little bit,
Hmm.
back last year, but you were always going to do your own thing. And I think we should take it back to like the start of IO. And for
Yeah.
anyone listening, IO is stands for Irrational Optimist, which is Jake's company, and his community. And it started as basically like a free group about a year and a half ago, right?
Yeah,
Like roughly.
exactly.
Um, yeah, tell us about the origin and then yeah, what you were doing.
Yeah, dude. So I got I wanted to start a community because those were getting popular at the time, and I always thought that was like just like a cool thing to do. And so I posted on Twitter, if I were to create a free community that had courses and live calls and a bunch of like-minded people that embody this sort of messaging of irrational optimism, would anybody be interested in? And it's snowballed. We got like 500 people open to it at first, and then slowly over time, we had more and more interest as it gained popularity. And long story short, we have a couple thousand people in the Discord now, and it got to the point where it's like, hey, this is something super special. How can we bring this more in person? And so what we decided to do is start doing retreats all around the world, and those gained a lot of popularity. But as from a business
And when was the
standpoint,
first one?
actually about a year ago from last weekend, it was in Maui, Hawaii.
Okay. And you ran what, two, three?
We have done three, and then we're doing our fourth one right now in
Nice,
Morocco.
nice. So let's tell the story. So that's like that sets the scene. Everyone
Yeah.
knows roughly like how things got started, whatever, what the company is. Um, it's an events company, right?
Yeah.
And I think one of the bigger things as well is like your expertise is networking. You
Mhm.
just like somehow you just know somebody that does something somewhere if somebody needs it. Just like any you know the guy at any given moment. Um, and I think it comes down to your charisma and like what you've just how you operate, like what you do. And I think even back when we were in Miami, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, we're like, dude,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I kind of want to do my own thing. I don't want to sell for people anymore. Dude, start a networking offer. I don't know.
Yeah.
You
I was
never
like,
really
no,
like
I don't want to
executed
do
on
it.
it.
It felt
You,
weird.
you didn't execute on it, right? And even we had a conversation, I think like it was about 12 months ago, maybe like 12 months ago. We are like, yeah, like that could be a good thing. I remember you were just like, dude, take equity here and blah, blah, blah. And we were talking about that. And it wasn't something that you wanted to do at the time. And so I'm curious, before we jump into like what we just did and like tell the story of how we hung out. And I was like, dude, like you have to do this. What what was the reason that was maybe holding you back from selling some kind of info or something like that?
Such a good question because it was more of a me thing. Not that I didn't think it would have been a good idea, but for anybody that has a business, right, they're going to be very protective over it. And I wasn't comfortable in the fact of the messaging behind making a networking offer because there's a lot of things out there like that. And a lot of times it doesn't really help people. And I didn't want to just get immediately placed into that info product and seem like a scam or a guru, someone that actually didn't care
Yep.
for their people. And not that I even would have that mind. It was just like that was the saturation of those types of offers. So I
Yep.
didn't feel comfortable. Just like I spent the last year giving out free value and putting my own money into IO to really curate this core group of people, and I didn't want to tarnish that real quick. But after you gave me the laydown on how something like this can actually work, it
Well,
went
let's talk about it.
incredible.
So like
Yeah.
I had to go to Florida. I had to take care of like my old lease there and stuff like that. And so you're like, oh, I'll pick you up from the airport, whatever. And I think one of the first things you said to me was like, dude, just IO just isn't making money.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I mean, you'd been making money from the events, and it'd been
Hmm.
like you just told me it's been like 5, 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Since you ran an event, so you hadn't made money in a while. And I was like, all right, like what are you gonna do? You're like,
Yeah.
well, I was thinking about selling for people again. This and that. I was like, why don't you just launch a product? Like what are
I
you
was like,
waiting?
oh shit, this is crazy.
Well, first you were like, nah, like I don't know. That doesn't really make
Still.
sense. I don't know if I want to. I was like, no, dude, like I'm not even just saying that, like I'm serious. You should do this. And I don't know what was going through your mind, but like after like I said that to you three-ish times, I feel like you kind of got the picture of like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I should do this. And that night I was just working, I was doing some things, and you started structuring the offer, and I was going back and forth with you like, this is how you do it, this and that, blah blah, et cetera, et cetera. So tell that side of your side of that story.
Yeah. Dude, well, the thing is, the retreats are super special, but if we do them all the time, it removes the magic of it. And then on top of that, like it is good money, but doing that every now and then for, 10, $20,000, it's just not sustainable,
Yeah.
And so it's like, what are we gonna do to actually make something? And then I also have the team I got to take care of. And so there was so much resistance for the longest time, like I was saying, I didn't feel comfortable with it because I knew the ecom side of IO was going to take a while. Working on other excuse me, working on a couple other things on a corporate side of IO for corporate businesses. And it's like, what can we do that's like ours, but that's actually helping people and we're doing good work. And so when you put that into our mind, it was like, hey, you should actually take this seriously now. Dude, we stayed awake for probably 7 days putting this together after you put that in our head. And we went right to work on putting the modules. Like you gave us clarity on it, like everything that we were missing. I
Yeah.
just feel like I didn't allow the conversation to come to fruition. It's like, hey, this is what it would actually look like. I just kind of got the surface level idea and I didn't explore it.
Mm. Previously.
Yeah.
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 And so to preface at the time, and still you're really starting to grow, right? Like we're starting to make it happen. You have a couple thousand on IG, couple thousand in the Discord, and like 10K over on Twitter.
I have
I
almost
st
10K
I
on
still
IG.
call it Twitter. Oh, there you go, 10K on IG. But I was like, look, dude, you have the traffic already. Like you have
Yeah.
the traffic, people know you. You can launch the offer and make sales immediately. And so you did that. How did that go? What did it look like? Like,
It was unreal launch day.
okay.
Unreal. I think since launch, we've done about 27 students, all at 1,000 or 1,500 at the
And
price point.
how long has it been?
About a month.
About a month. Wow.
Been about a month,
Let's
bro.
go.
It was
Let's
crazy.
go.
It was crazy, dude. And it's like after getting that success, but most importantly, the results that students are getting, it gave us as a team like that peace of
Yeah.
mind. It's like, how can we actually
Yeah.
deliver something for someone? Because that's another misconception out there that I wouldn't have got if it wasn't for you guys at Launch Socials was how do we actually fulfill? What does that process look like? How do you actually make something that's helping people and
Mm.
you're being
It's a,
authentic
it's a
in that?
big thing. It's a big thing people forget. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm an expert at this. I'm just gonna sell this thing. And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh wait, I have to get people results. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
a big thing. Like we are called launch socials, yes, but at the same time, when you launch your socials and you sell something, that selling of something involves the content and the brand building. It also involves the selling of it,
Yeah.
and then it involves the product and fulfillment of it, and then the back end funnels that can come from there.
Yeah.
And if those three aren't aligned, well, one, you're a scammer, and then two,
Yeah.
two, it's just like you're not even going to be super profitable. So
Yeah.
okay, and then you ended up joining Launch Sources after that, and that's cool. And just to fill the gaps for anybody watching,
Mhm.
what was like, what's been going through your mind throughout the process, right? Because obviously it was exciting at the start. Where's your mind at now in regards to that offer? What's happening with the events? I know you just had a big sale with the events, and I
Yeah.
don't know if we want to say well, yeah, we should say the total number. But I'm curious,
Because you
like,
you guys were a part of that, right? Like
yeah,
even just the stuff that we learned from being in Launch Social so far, we phased out the announcements in a way that we wouldn't have done before,
mm,
even to the structure of the emails, even creating a landing page for the retreat to give all the information
Yeah,
and even how to take those sales calls, all these little things that I think some of us feel like we're confident in innately. But it's like once you kind of get that little bit of guidance or a lot of guidance if you need it, it brings so much more clarity and the execution has been
yep.
crazy.
For some people it's the full structure, and then for
Yeah,
someone like you, it's like just these little like things
yeah,
that almost make it complete.
yep. And we've hit our first 100K in revenue. Honest to God, because of
In a
Launch
month? Is
Socials.
it in a month or is it in
Last six
six
weeks.
weeks?
Last
Last
six
6 weeks,
weeks.
100K in
Yeah,
6 weeks. That's
yeah.
crazy. That's
Crazy,
crazy.
bro.
It was,
Crazy.
man, like to think about. Look, I'm not trying to brag or anything here, guys, but like, look, I land in Florida. Jake and I have a conversation, and then boom, 100K in 6 weeks. That's crazy. Like that's mind
Unreal.
blowing to me.
Unreal journey for us, bro. I feel like I've aged 10 years in the amount of work we've been putting in.
Let's go. That's fire, bro.
Yeah.
What's next? What's
Uh,
happening next? Where do you see this going? We just started working together, so obviously
yeah.
there's levels for us to continue working together
Oh, yeah.
from here. But what's happening next in your
So
mind?
the next thing is we had a very successful launch in Social Alchemy. And it's like, how do we do this consistently now? And that's what you guys at Launch Socials have been helping out with is how can we do this sustainably for longevity purposes and scale effectively? So right now we're working on a legitimate content structure across all social media channels, what the emails look like, and then just focusing on getting new members in so we can continue to help them. And so that's what's going to be a big focus is like after the Morocco retreat, we want to continue providing good value and we're going to do that through Social Alchemy in the Discord. So, and that just centers around your
Yeah.
guys' guidance on content, which has been unreal. I think even since I've joined too, I've done about like 2 million impressions on
Let's
Twitter,
go.
which
Let's
is
go.
crazy as well. So after that, after Morocco, we're gonna get a ton of content from there, and then just use all that to kind of push the message of IO and social alchemy.
Sweet, bro. It's gonna be
Yeah,
a big year. It's gonna be a big year.
yeah, it's
Where do you
exciting.
see it being in a year from now?
My
Um,
ideal situation is that each day, so let me take a step back. Each day we're getting more and more refined in terms of the messaging and how the content is perceived, and they're starting to perform better and better, like I said, on Twitter and
yep.
soon to be Instagram. Ideally, I want 500,000 people on it on Instagram. I want like IO to be a mainstream term.
On your
And then
personal or on IO?
on the IO Instagram. I think it's going to be one and the same because like I'm running it and I think
Yep.
it'll be interchangeable. And then I want to start small with like a specific goal. I want to get 10,000 people in the Discord. And the only way for us to do that is through your guys' guidance on the content because with the plan you gave us, it's everything that we're tweeting has to revert back to IO in some way. So that specificity has been really helpful because before I was just posting stuff just to say I was,
Yeah.
but it's like
Yeah.
there's a method to the madness. You have to do this with specificity.
Sick. Sick,
Yeah.
bro. Is there anything? Oh, let me ask you this. There's two questions. Two questions. Anything you would change about our process? Stuff that you don't like.
No,
Cool.
no,
Cool. Cool.
honestly, no. Like everything has been incredible, bro. Like to be completely honest, it was the missing component we needed.
Sick. And what is the best part? What's the best part of working with us, launch socials, all that?
Support because it's so easy when you're starting your business to live in that bubble and kind of like reject outside opinion. But you guys have done this for over 200 people. So like you like the pattern recognition that you have seen
400.
400, yeah. So like when I came to you the other day, it's like, yo, dude, we're kind of slowing down on leads. Like, what's going on here? And you were able to fix that within like 10 minutes of conversation.
Yep.
And that would have taken us just banging our heads against the wall for
And it
maybe even a
wasn't an
couple of
easy
weeks.
fix. That was not
Yeah,
an easy fix. And we had
yeah,
to like dissect a funnel or two.
yeah,
But it was like it was very clear to me like what specifically
yeah.
was happening. Yeah.
And there's no way we would have came to that conclusion, or we maybe would have, but way later down the line, we
Yeah.
would have lost out on a ton of opportunity versus like, hey, we can fix this right now because of your guys' help, and then keep iterating from there.
Sweet, bro.
It's huge, bro.
This is no man, I'm just excited, bro. I'm just
Thank you,
excited to
bro.
see what happens. I will probably maybe be at the event too, the next event. So
Unreal.
that would be awesome. I know you're excited about that. You kind of rug pulled me on the location though. But
Italy, Morocco, China.
but sweet dude, anything what would be your final like last message to anyone thinking about joining launch socials, but like maybe and one thing before I finish that question, one thing I want to point out to anybody watching is like Jake's a perfect example of someone that had a bunch of traction, had sold something, but it wasn't consistent, or
Mhm.
he had maybe it kind of like fell off a little bit, and he had the pieces there to go to the next level, but it had to be like reinvigorated, right?
Yes,
And we brought him in and we gave him the new structure and the new system, something that he can do forever. Like
that's what
people,
I
even
wanted to say.
even people
Sorry.
that grow, so yeah, so even people that grow at one point in time, they, they can slow down, or things can happen, or like the audience goes stale and the product isn't selling anymore. That can happen to anybody. So if you're someone sitting here watching this, it's like, if you're at zero, you're going to get a custom plan and a process for
Hmm.
you and your specific situation, but it's going to be the same pillars. Just like somebody that comes in with 10K followers or 2K or whatever it is, or 100K. We've had people come in with 200K that didn't know how to sell anything,
Yeah.
and then we gave them that structure, reinvigorated, and now they're making money. And you're just one of those good examples of, like, you're kind of in the middle. um and so I wanted to include that for
Yeah.
context, because people might be watching this and like, oh, they only help people that are already established, and that's not the case. That is not the case. It's just a little bit of a different process. But what would you say is like the final pieces that you, or like message thing that you want somebody watching this that might join Launch Socials? What would you say to them?
So I think it coincides exactly with what you were pointing out because what I possessed was I can do this on my own. I have all the resources, and I had tried that for the past couple of years, and it didn't work. Like you said, you get a little bit of growth here and there, but there was these missing pieces. And so as soon as I joined, right, everything 10x. I mean, we've done 100K in 6 weeks. It's
10x, man.
unbelievable. But so what I want to say is that it's inevitable if you're watching this that you may feel that, oh, I can do this on my own. It's not that difficult. There's all these resources out there. But I had tried that and it didn't work, and it cost me a lot of time and money. And as soon as I joined Launch Socials, every single little thing that I was missing was either shown to us and was fixed. And on top of that, it just 10x'd us. So I would say like the help is
Crazy.
huge. The help, yeah, the
Crazy,
help is
man.
huge. So I would just really advise that you don't get into the mindset of like, oh, I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm gonna try, blah, blah, blah. Like there's a reason why this system works. It's because it does, right? Like you said, you've helped over 400 people. You've
Yeah.
helped us tremendously, and in a lot of ways, it's changed all of our lives because now IO is like a legitimate, scalable operation. It's a legitimate business, and now like all my employees can be taken care of. I can do things. I can take care of my family. Like, all these incredible things is be wouldn't have happened if I just kept banging my head against the wall, saying like I can figure this out on my own and do that. It wouldn't have happened.
Let's go, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome, bro. I
yeah. Thank
appreciate
you,
appreciate
bro.
you, bro. Appreciate you being here, doing this. Guys, if you want to follow Jake, he already dropped. It's at Jake underscore YNG
No
blood.
underscore.
No
Just
underscore? You got
no
rid of the
underscore.
underscore? I
Yep,
feel like you used
just
to
Jake
have one.
Youngblood. No, I never did.
At Jake YNG blood on all platforms. And if you guys want to join Launch Socials, the link to apply is down below in the description. Or
Big
maybe you're
facts.
watching, maybe you're watching this and you've already booked a call or something like that. Just make sure to show up, man. Got you. All right. Appreciate you guys watching. Have a good one.
Thanks, brother.